Heartwarming journey. Discover the incredible reason my parents only supported her graduation. Jake woke before dawn, the sun barely a whisper on the horizon. The rules of his small town defined his world. Hard work was the only ticket out. He quietly made his way through the dimly lit rooms of their diner, golden oak, coffee brewing, and bacon sizzling, a symphony of morning sounds. He could sense his single mother stirring, her weary frame a familiar silhouette in the kitchen light. They were a team, pushing through life as hardships, yet lately, his heart felt heavy. Every day brought new challenges, from the struggling diner to the tightening grip of financial strain. In Maplewood, his tight-knit community felt like family, yet as he flipped pancakes, his thoughts drifted to Sara. She glided through high school, earned accolades while clad in designer clothes, her laughter ringing like bell chimes. Jake had always admired her, every triumph felt like a victory for them both. But beneath that admiration swelled an uninvited emotion: envy. Why did it seem like the world conspired to build paths just for her while he toiled in the shadows? Months slipped by, graduation looming just days away. Then the news came crashing down, shattering the thin veneer of hope Jake clung to. His parents, the pillars of his hard work, admitted that they had only saved for Sara's college. They believed in her potential, convinced that her rise would inspire the community they cherished. Betrayal surged through Jake, like icy water washing over his best-laid dreams. "What about me?" he shouted, his heart in turmoil. Did his years of effort mean nothing in the face of loyalty? As customers trickled in for their morning coffee, Jake felt the walls of the diner close in on him. The clinks of cups blended with laughter and conversation, stories of resilience spilled forth with every order. Yet, among the warmth of the community, he felt distant. Did he even matter? Why did he feel less worthy of achievement simply because he didn't come from wealth? Before he knew it, he found himself confronting his mother in a wave of pent-up emotions. "Why chose her?" he yelled, frustration boiling over. His mother's gaze fell with the weight of years, revealing a promise made to a friend long ago, a promise that suffocated him now. Yet in the depths of his struggle, hope flickered like a candle in the dark. The community rallied around him, whispers of his hard work and dreams slowly rising to a crescendo. As graduation approached, Jake felt a shift, like he was being lifted by hands unseen, wings sprouting behind his dreams. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Jake stood on that graduation stage, a whirlwind of emotions swirling around him. Every eye in the crowd was upon him, anticipation crackling like static in the air. Just as he was about to embrace the moment he had longed for, a final revelation trembled through the crowd. Sara's family had kept secrets, turning whispers into a storm of community moral dilemmas. What truly defined success, and who deserved it? Jake's heart raced as he balanced on the edge of recognition. Would he seize the future he worked so hard for, or let family loyalty shroud his dreams? The stage of hope lay before him, leaving everyone on the edge, wondering not only about the outcome, but also about the man he was becoming. The moment hung in the air, heavy with unspoken words and charged emotions. Jake glanced over at Sara, standing there with her family, a crown of accomplishments resting upon her. His heart twisted painfully at the sight of her beaming smile. Just moments before, he had been ready to claim his hard-earned victory, yet now doubt whispered in his ear like an unwanted guest. As he took a breath, he could feel the warmth of the sun beginning to rise behind him, an invitation to step forward, to shine. But the whispers from the audience continued, slicing through the tension. Speculation about Sara's future echoed, and he thought about the failed promise of his own. Had his efforts paved the way for someone else's dreams? Jake! Voices from the crowd blended together, pulling him back to focus as a soft cheer emerged like sunlight breaking through clouds. The principal gestured him to take the mic. He took a step forward, heart racing, palms damp with anxiety. "This isn't just about me," he managed to say, a tremor in his voice. "We're all here because we supported one another." He searched for familiar faces in the crowd, his mother's hopeful gaze, old friends who had stood beside him through countless late nights and hard work. He felt the crowd lean in, drawn by a shared understanding of struggle and triumph. "Growing up in Maplewood, I learned what it meant to rise together. My journey wasn't just solitary, it was a shared effort," Jake continued, words flowing like a river that had long awaited release. Each sentence seemed to connect the pieces of his broken heart, stitching them into a reluctant acceptance. He locked eyes with Sara. Maybe this was a moment that wasn't just about winning or losing. Maybe it was about understanding the bigger picture, the sacrifices made by everyone around you. He saw her blink back a tear, the realization that their paths, though different, were intertwined. Suddenly, with the crowd hushed, a new resolve surged within him. "I'm proud of my hard work, and I'm proud of Sara's achievements too. We've fought our own battles, and it's okay to be happy for one another. Our stories are different, but they're valuable. Together, we can inspire this community, lift each other up." The applause rolled through the crowd like ocean waves, rising and falling with newfound energy. Jake felt something shifting within him, an embrace from the community he'd sometimes felt distant from. Their support momentarily blanketed his worries, lighting a path forward. As he stepped back from the mic, Jake noticed a small piece of paper tucked beneath his cap, a note he hadn't seen before. Curiosity pulled at him, and he unfolded it quickly. His breath caught in his throat as he read the familiar handwriting. "Jake, I've always believed in you. Trust your heart." It was from his mother. Tears pricked at the edges of his eyes. The weight of their family promise, the whispers from the community, the silent battles, they all carved a corner of his heart, reshaping it into something stronger. But as he turned to leave the stage, a sudden commotion erupted at the back of the crowd. A figure pushed through the sea of people. Who was it? The universe seemed ready to unleash yet another revelation. Could this moment change everything once more? Jake squinted into the bright sunlight, straining to discern the figure pushing through the crowd. The whispers around him turned to murmurs as heads turned, and he couldn't shake the feeling that something significant was about to happen. As the crowd parted, a familiar face emerged. It was Emma, his childhood friend and neighbor, her brown hair gleaming like spun gold in the sun. But there was something unusual about her expression. She looked anxious, almost frantic. "Jake!" she shouted, her voice breaking through the noise of the gathering. The crowd turned, curiosity palpable in the air. "Emma?" He stepped closer, confusion swirling in his chest. Her eyes were wide, and for a brief moment, the world around them blurred. "I need to talk to you," she said, urgency dripping from her words. "It's important." Jake's heart raced as he nodded. He turned back to the crowd, sensing that the applause and cheers were fading into whispers. He led Emma to the side, away from the gaze of the audience. "What is going on?" "You're shaking," he said, glancing around as if the answer might be hiding behind a tree. "I just found out it's about you, Jake. Your scholarship. It's not what you think." Her voice trembled slightly, and a knot formed in his stomach. "What do you mean?" he asked, his brow furrowing. "I earned it. I worked for it." "I know. But there are things you don't know. Talk to your mom, okay?" She hesitated, biting her lip. "She found something out last week. It was about Sara's family." Jake felt his chest tighten. "What does that even mean?" "Please. Just trust me. You need to find her after the ceremony. I can't explain it all now." Emma glanced back nervously at the crowd, then took a breath. "Jake, it could change everything." His mind began to swirl. How could learning something new change what he fought so hard for? He thought of the paper from his mom, the encouragement, the belief she had in him. How could any of that be called into question? "Wait, Emma, what are you trying to say?" But she was already weaving her way back through the crowd, leaving him with a sinking feeling and a sense of urgency that gnawed at him. He turned to face the audience once more, the noise fading as he caught sight of Sara again. She was chatting with her family, laughter ringing out, the picture of accomplishment. But now, doubt filled Jake's heart like a dense fog. What was he missing? The joy from earlier faded to a soft ache in his chest. It was all so fragile. He remembered what Emma had said. Talk to his mom. Understand the truth before it was too late. As Jake moved through the crowd, determination coursed through him. There was more to discover, layers entwined in their stories that he had yet to peel back. Just as he reached the edge of the gathering, he saw Sara glancing in his direction, shadows of concern passing over her face. This moment didn't he have to unravel into confusion or anger. It could be a chance for clarity, a revelation that would bring them closer together, or perhaps pull them apart. What truth awaited him in the chaos? Would this discovery shift the landscape of their lives forever? And what would he find when he finally confronted the whispers of the past? Jake's heart pounded like a drum as he approached Sara. Her laughter, once a balm, now felt distant. He searched her eyes for the warmth that had always been there, but all he found were questions, shadows of uncertainty that mirrored his own. "Hey," he said, forcing a smile. But it felt heavy, burdened with the weight of Emma's revelation. "Jake. I was just talking about you," she beamed, but the light in her eyes dimmed as she registered the hesitation in his expression. "What's wrong? Can we talk?" He gestured toward a quieter area a few steps away from the crowd, feeling the urgency in his voice. "Sure, of course," she responded, concern knitting her brow. As they walked, Jake's thoughts raced. Could he really ask her about her family? What would she think if he confronted the delicate web of connections and secrets? Yet, he knew there was no way around it. The truth had to come out. They settled into a small clearing, out of earshot from the jubilation behind them. The buzz of celebration felt like a distant world, one he was struggling to access. "What is going on?" Sara asked, biting her lip. "You've been acting weird all day." Emma said some things he hesitated, grappling with how to phrase it without chasing her away. "She mentioned that something about my scholarship relates to your family." Sara's reaction was immediate. Her face fell, and Jake felt a pang of regret for bringing it up this way. "What do you mean?" she whispered, her voice small. "I don't know everything yet," but he took a deep breath, trying to smooth the worried crease on his brow. "She said I should talk to my mom about it. There are things I don't understand." The look on her face was a mix of confusion and fear. "Jake, I don't know what you're talking about. My family's they're just normal. We're just like yours." He could see the walls begin to rise in her eyes, a protective shield forming around the tender topics of family and background. "That's what I thought too, but what if there's something more?" "More?" she echoed, her voice rising with anxiety. "Like what? Are we talking about something bad?" "No. I mean, I don't know." His frustration bubbled just below the surface. "Exactly. But Emma wouldn't have said it if it wasn't serious. Do you think I'm keeping something from you?" "No." She looked hurt. "But why would she involve my family? It doesn't make sense." Jake felt desperation creeping in. He stepped a little closer, softening his tone. "Look, I care about you, Sara. More than anything. If there's something you're not telling me, we need to be honest. For both of us. Whatever it is, maybe we can face it together." Sara's brow furrowed deeply as she struggled to form words. "I don't want you to get hurt. You told me you wanted to start fresh without the baggage. I thought we were moving on." The air crackled with tension, and Jake's heart sank. The joy of the day was becoming a quicksand around him. "We were." But Emma's words, a sharp edge of silence hung between them until Sara finally whispered, "I don't know what to say. If I'm being honest, there's something I never told you either." Jake felt like the ground beneath him was shifting. This wasn't how he expected the conversation to unfold, but was it a chance for them both to share their truths? The answers hung heavy in the air, echoing with potential revelation. "What do you mean?" He prodded, hope mingling with fear as he waited for her words to break the tension. Then a loud cheer erupted from the crowd, and for a moment, they were both startled back to reality, the world outside closing in again. Sara's expression shifted to one of determination, mixed with uncertainty. "We'll talk." But not here. Not now. Let us just enjoy this moment, and I promise, when it's just us, I'll tell you everything. Jake nodded, the weight of what they were both carrying heavy between them. Would the truth they held separate tear them apart or bind them closer together? As they rejoined the crowd, his thoughts raced. What secrets had Sara been hiding? And how deep were the connections that tied their families together? In that moment, he realized that the search for truth might well be the path to understanding each other. But could they weather the storm that lay ahead? The music swirled around them as Jake and Sara moved back into the crowd, the colors and laughter dizzying. Each beat of the drum felt like it was matching his racing heart. He tried to focus on the joy of the celebration, but the weight of their unfinished conversation hovered like a storm cloud. Sara was quieter now, her laughter more subdued. Jake could see that she was grappling with something deep within herself. How could he reach her? The distance between them seemed to stretch, even as they stood side by side. Hey, he began, but the words got caught in his throat. He wanted to suggest dancing or grabbing a snack, something light to bring her back from whatever place her mind was drifting, but she beat him to it. Let us get some air, she said suddenly, her voice barely above a whisper. It struck him how she pulled away from the happy scene. She seemed so fragile, yet he could see her determination. They stepped out into a small courtyard, where the noise of the celebration faded into a gentle hum. The stars were sprinkled across the night sky, a stark contrast to the turmoil they were both feeling. Jake looked at Sara, noticing the way her brow was creased in concentration, as if she were preparing to open a door that had long been closed. Okay, she said, taking a deep breath. Let me just get this out. Her words came tumbling out, raw and unfiltered. I wanted to tell you. I should have told you sooner. My family is not like everyone else's. There's history. And it intertwines with yours, more than you know. Jake felt his heart rate pick up again. Was she finally going to explain the puzzle pieces that had been eluding him? What do you mean? He asked, his voice steady, though he felt anything but. Years ago, she started, something happened. My parents, they made choices that affected my whole family. Choices that involved your family. Her gaze fell to the ground, as if the weight of her words was too heavy to bear. Are you saying Jake's mind raced? He could feel a connection pulsing between them like a hidden thread waiting to be unraveled. We might be connected in a way I can't understand yet? She nodded, her eyes pooling with emotion. It's complicated, Jake. I was afraid it'd decloud everything, change how we share our lives. Take your time, he urged, wanting to soothe her anxiety. I'm right here. Sara took a breath, her hands running through her hair in frustration. My dad lost his business because of a rivalry your family was involved in. I thought that was a thing of the past. But Emma, she brought it all back. What do you mean? Emma knew? She knows what happened, things I was never supposed to know. I started looking into it because I needed to understand why we'd always been told to stay away from your family. Her voice trembled, and Jake could see the truth spilling out, unraveling what had been hidden for far too long. Jake could feel the air grow heavy with unspoken possibilities. We both deserve the truth, he said softly, gathering courage. So why don't we face it together? Sara looked back into his eyes, and it was like she was searching for something deep within him. Okay, she said finally, her voice steadying. Together. Just then, a loud cheer erupted again from the party, shaking them from their intense moment. Jake's heart raced, not just from the connection they were making, but from a sense of dread. As much as they were bonding, the past loomed large, ready to make its entrance. Would they be able to face the history their families shared, or would it pull them apart? What awaited them when they dissected those hidden truths? Jake's mind was racing with questions as they stood together, ready to confront the shadows that danced just at the edges of their lives. Jake shifted slightly, glancing toward the entrance of the courtyard, where laughter and music still echoed, alive and carefree. He could feel the warmth from the lights spilling out, inviting him back to the brightness. But here, in this quiet space with Sara, the weight of their conversation was like a blanket, pressing down yet offering a rare sense of intimacy. What is Emma's role in all of this? He finally asked, needing clearer answers. Why did she bring this back up for you? Sara looked up, her eyes glimmering like the stars above them. Emma, she feels responsible. She has seen the effects of what happened, and it gnaws at her. I think she believes that if we understand our family histories, we might find a way to heal the wounds. What if knowing the truth just makes it worse? Jake questioned, his mind racing through the implications. What if it drives a wedge between us? Sara took a step closer, her gaze steady. Or maybe it does the opposite. Maybe it helps us understand each other better. We can't live in fear of the past forever, right? Her words hung in the air between them, filled with possibilities. The tension shifted, and Jake felt the pulse of hope, mingling with their apprehensions. You're right. But it's hard knowing our families have this history. He watched as her shoulders relaxed slightly, as if the burden of confession had shifted some weight from her. Let us promise each other to face it head-on, she said, her tone carrying resolve. No more secrets. Deal, he replied without hesitation. Was it bravado in the face of uncertainty, or genuine courage? He couldn't tell, but he felt a sense of agreement wash over him if they were going to navigate the storm. They needed each other. Suddenly, a voice called out from the entrance. It was Emma, spotting them through the crowd. Hey, where do you two slip away to? Everyone else looking for you. Jake felt his heart skip. The timing was perfect, perhaps a little too perfect. Looks like we're about to find out what Emma knows, he said, attempting to lighten the mood. But his stomach twisted, another wave of unease washing over him. Sara's expression shifted from determination to anxiety, like a shutter snapping closed. I hope she's ready for this, she murmured, almost to herself. They exchanged another quick glance, the unspoken agreement hanging in the air. No turning back now. Together, they stepped back into the bustling celebration, merging into a sea of colors and laughter. Emma waved them over, her face lit with enthusiasm. A stark contrast to the tension they felt. As they moved closer, Jake felt the familiar vibe of the party wash over him. He breathed in the warmth, the laughter, but suppressed a knot of anticipation in his gut. The dynamic had changed. What would Emma say? Would she add fuel to the fire, or would she help them find a way through the haze? Hey, you guys, come on. Emma chimed, oblivious to the tension simmering beneath the surface. Let us hear what she has to say. Jake squeezed Sara's hand as reassurance. As he stepped towards Emma, he knew they were on the brink of something big. But would the truth draw them together, or would it tear them apart, redefining everything they knew? In that moment, the celebration around them faded, and all that mattered was the conversation that lay ahead. What revelations awaited them? Would they be ready for the truths that might come flooding in? Emma's smile beamed as they reached her, but Jake could see a flicker of concern in her eyes before she masked it with excitement. You won't believe what I found out, she exclaimed, grabbing their hands and pulling them closer, as if this revelation would wash away any doubts lingering in the air. What did you find, Em? Sara asked, her voice a blend of curiosity and apprehension. Emma hesitated for a moment, glancing around at the laughter and chatter surrounding them, before lowering her voice. I started looking into our family trees. What I discovered is pretty wild. Wild how? Jake leaned in, feeling the call of this moment. He sensed that the truth could be pivotal for all of them, possibly reshaping everything they thought they knew. Okay, Emma began, her enthusiasm ebbing as the gravity of her words sunk in. You know how we've talked about our family's pasts being complicated? Well, I found a connection between our grandparents. Sara's face turned pale. What kind of connection? Emma bit her lip, clearly weighing her next words. It's like an old feud, one that goes back decades. The kind that tears families apart. I think it has something to do with why our families never blended. Why we kept our distance. Jake felt the air go thin, as if someone had yanked a heavy curtain closed around them. What do you mean a feud? Between who? Your grandfather and mine, Emma replied, her eyes starting between the two of them. They had a falling out over a land dispute. Rumor has it got pretty nasty, and they never spoke again. Their resentment seeped into our families. It's been going on for years. Sara's voice shook slightly. Are you serious? But why didn't anyone ever talk about this? Because it's painful, Emma said, the weight of her discovery hanging heavily. People avoid the past. They think it makes things better, but it doesn't. It just festers. Jake felt an avalanche of emotions crash over him. Each revelation pushed and prodded at him, each one demanding a reaction. So, this is why we felt like we had to tiptoe around each other. Why our families never right, Emma interrupted, her voice softer now. It's why they never really accepted us as friends. Or as more. The revelations seemed to reshape the garden around them, vibrant colors dulling to shadows. Jake could hear the distant party, a contrast to the heavy silence that fell over them. He could see Sarah's mind racing, the adoration she felt for Emma colliding with a sense of betrayal at how much had been hidden. Is it possible, Sara began slowly, her voice steady despite the turmoil in her heart, that knowing this could set us free? Maybe if we understand the roots of our family's anger, we could move past it? Or it could tear us apart, Jake interjected, feeling the tension in the air. What if our parents won't even let us be together after this? Emma frowned, and Jake could see the thought weighing on her. I didn't want to hurt you guys. I just thought if you understand, maybe you can talk to your families. Break the cycle. The three of them stood there, circling the concept of forgiveness and the ghosts of the past. Sara turned to Jake, her gaze pleading. This could be the chance to change things. But we have to do it together. Jake squeezed her hand and nodded, the heartbeat of the night pulsing louder. Okay then. Let us confront our parents. Together. With determination flickering between them, they took a collective breath. But an electric worry still zipped through the air. Would they be strong enough to face what lay ahead? Emma's voice pierced through the noise. You guys, there's something else I found, something that could change everything. Are you ready for it? Jake felt his heart rate quicken. What had Emma discovered now? What truth loomed on the horizon, ready to redefine their lives yet again? Emma took a deep breath, her eyes reflecting a mixture of excitement and fear. Okay, so I dug deeper into the old records, she began, her voice almost a whisper. And I found this newspaper article from decades ago. It described the feud in detail, but it also mentioned a woman named Clara. Sara furrowed her brow. Who is Clara? She was my great-grandmother, Emma said, her expression serious. But here's the wild part, she wasn't just anyone. Apparently, she was the one trying to mediate between our families. She wanted us to come together, to heal the rift. The article said she even tried to host a meeting, but it ended in chaos. Jake felt a surge of hope, mixed with confusion. So she tried to bridge the gap? What happened? Emma's gaze dropped to the ground, her fingers fidgeting with a bouquet of flowers nearby. It didn't go well. Your grandfather didn't show, and Clara was devastated. There were accusations, and in the end, rumors started flying about her loyalty. They tarnished her name, even stained our family history. Sara's eyes widened. So Clara's intentions were good, but they led to more pain? Exactly, Emma replied, her voice trembling. I think that's why our families have held on to this feud for so long. They buried Clara's story, the idea that someone wanted to fix things. They allowed the anger to survive instead. Jake felt the weight of this revelation pressing down. That's heartbreaking. It's like they chose the pain over healing. It feels that way, Emma said. But maybe there's something we can do. If Clara wanted reconciliation, maybe we can honor that. We could visit her grave, share her story with both families. What if we could help them see that healing is possible? Sara's voice was steady, but Jake could hear the nervous tremor. It would take a lot of courage. Our parents might resist. They might not want to hear this. Maybe they have to, though, Emma insisted. They deserve to know how far back this goes. And maybe we can find a way to connect, to finally break this cycle of hurt. We can be the bridge Clara wanted. Jake felt his heart surge as a sense of purpose washed over him. Let us do it then. Let us find Clara's grave. This isn't just about us anymore, it's about healing a legacy. They stood in that garden, surrounded by laughter and chatter, yet feeling like they were in a different world altogether. The breeze rustled through the trees, carrying with it a resonance of hope. Emma's expression brightened, but the uncertainty still lingered in her eyes. But before we go, I need to tell you one more thing. What I found out about Clara, it ties into you, Jake. Jake's heartbeat quickened. What do you mean? She hesitated, as if the words were trapped somewhere between excitement and fear. Clara's wish wasn't just to mend fences between our families. There is something else, something that links you and me more deeply than just our grandparents' feud. Jake swallowed hard, the tension wrapping around them like a thick fog. What is it, Emma? What connects us? The night seemed to hold its breath, all focus on Emma as she searched for the right words. He could sense that the stakes were rising, the air thick with the promise of something monumental. You won't believe it, but Clara is your great-grandmother too. A shocked silence enveloped them. Sara gasped, and Jake's heart raced even faster, caught between disbelief and a sudden rush of emotions. Could this really be true? Wait, what? Jake stammered. How can that be? Emma stepped closer, her eyes now sparkling with a mix of hope and fear. I'm next in line to learn her story, just like you. I believe if we uncover that truth, we could heal not only our families, but also ourselves. Jake felt the ground beneath him shift, and a wave of emotions crashed over him. What had he just stepped into? Determination mixed with confusion swirled inside him. They were on the brink of facing their past, and he knew nothing would ever be the same again. Okay, he finally said, steeling himself. Let us take that next step together. I'm in. As they grasped hands, a new path lay ahead. One filled with the promise of healing, discovery, and untold stories waiting to be unveiled. But the question loomed, would their parents be ready for this journey? Would they accept the truth, or push back against the tides of history? With their hearts racing, they stood united in the beauty of what could be, awaiting the unfolding of the next chapter that buzzed with anticipation. The next morning dawned bright, the sun spilling golden light over the garden where Emma, Jake, and Sara had convened. It felt like a sign, as if the universe itself was smiling down on them, urging them forward. Emma glanced at her friends, her heart pounding with both excitement and anxiety. Are we ready for this? I mean, really ready? Emma asked, her voice breaking the stillness. Jake nodded, determination lighting his features. We have to be. Clara deserves this. We owe it to her and to ourselves. Sara bit her lip, her uncertainty palpable. But what if our parents don't understand? What if they just reject us? They've held onto this feud for so long. Then we'll confront that, Jake said firmly. We'll face it together. That's what Clara would wanted, right? A united front. Emma took a deep breath, feeling brave enough to challenge the ghosts of their family's past. Let us start with the cemetery. We can pay our respects and talk about how we'll present this to our families. As they gathered their things and started walking toward their destination, the weight of their quest settled around them like a charged atmosphere. Each step felt monumental. They navigated through the twisting streets, lost in thoughts about the two women whose broken dreams had intertwined their lives. When they reached the cemetery, a serene quiet enveloped them, mingling with the whispers of the wind. The air was thick with the scent of blooming flowers, and they walked along the rows of headstones until they reached Clara's grave. Emma knelt, brushing away some leaves that lay atop the stone. Clara, she murmured, we're here to honor you. To tell your story. She placed the bouquet of wildflowers she'd picked in front of the headstone, a symbol of life and renewal. Jake joined her, feeling an overwhelming sense of connection to this figure who had tried to bridge the chasm between their families. You wanted our families to heal, Clara. We're going to fight to make that happen. Sara stepped closer, placing a hand on Emma's shoulder. And we won't stop until everyone knows your true legacy. You believed in reconciliation, and we will, too. With their spirits lifted, they took turns sharing their fears and hopes, promising to unveil their joint heritage to their families. A sense of purpose washed over them, a warmth that banished the chilly dread of what lay ahead. As they left the cemetery, Emma turned to her friends, her voice steady but tinged with nervous anticipation. We've uncovered one piece of history. Now we have to find the rest of Clara's story. There must be more records, letters, something we can hold on to. Jake's eyes brightened with determination. Let us check the town archives. We might find evidence of her attempts to reconcile. Maybe there are even family letters we can use. Sara nodded emphatically. The more we discover, the stronger our argument for healing will be. It's like piecing together a puzzle. And we're going to do this together. The fire of camaraderie burned bright among them, but as they walked, a new wave of uncertainty washed over Emma. But what if our parents don't listen? What if they only see the feud and not our bond? They might react badly. Jake paused, meeting her eyes with unwavering conviction. Then we face that fear together. No matter what happens, we will support each other. They departed the cemetery feeling more resolute than ever, their hands entwined, but as they started toward the archives, the distant murmur of voices caught Emma's attention. She turned toward the familiar echoes of laughter that felt suspiciously close. Wait, that sounds like my mom. And Jake's dad. Panic surged through her. What if they overheard everything? Would they understand the journey Emma was embarking on, or would they push back even before she had the chance to speak? The knot in her stomach tightened. They'd just taken the first step, now the path to truth seemed steeper than anticipated. Should they approach their parents now, or retreat and regroup? The choice loomed large before them, and the air crackled with impending decisions. What would they do next? Jake felt a surge of panic mixed with determination as Emma's words hung in the air. This moment was pivotal. The weight of history pressed on his chest. They had just uncovered a truth that mattered, a shared heritage, a call for connection. But standing on the precipice of confrontation, should they unleash this bombshell now? Let us go see them together, he suggested, drawing strength from their united front. They deserve to know what we've found. We can't run from this anymore. Sara glanced between the two of them, her eyes wide, sensing the gravity. But what if they react poorly? They've been holding onto this divide for so long. Her voice trailed off, fear creeping in. Jake squeezed her hand, feeling the warmth of their camaraderie. We can't let fear dictate our path, he urged. Clara wanted reconciliation. If we stand together, they'll have to listen. Emma took a deep breath, gathering her courage. Okay, let us do it. Maybe if they see how much this has affected us, they'll understand that it's time to rewrite the story. As they approached the growing voices, Jake's heart raced. He could see his father's familiar figure, gesturing animatedly, his mother's laughter ringing like a bell. They paused outside the bubble of joy, readying themselves for the moment that would change everything. Hey, there they are. Emma called out, a surge of confidence washing over her. Each step felt like a declaration, and the weight of family histories pressed behind them like a rallying cry. Mom, Dad, Jake said, stepping forward. The world around them seemed to slow as his parents turned, surprise evident on their faces. Jake, Emma, Sara, his father exclaimed, a smile breaking across his face. What brings you here? Jake looked at Emma and Sara, their faces filled with the same mixture of fear and determination. We need to talk. It's important. What's the matter? His mother asked, concern clouding her brow. Emma opened her mouth, but Jake took the lead, feeling the weight of his words. We found something about Clara, Emma's great-grandmother. There's history between our families that you don't know. A feud, but it goes deeper than that. His parents exchanged glances, an unspoken tension rising between them. Feud? His father interrupted, a hint of disbelief creeping into his voice. That's a long-closed chapter. Maybe it doesn't have to be, Sara chimed in, her heart racing. Clara tried to bridge the gap years ago. We want to honor that together. Jake's eyes locked with his father's, his heart pounding as silence enveloped them. There was a moment, a palpable tension, as the echoes of laughter faded into a heavy stillness. Jake's mother stepped closer, her face softening with understanding. What are you saying, honey? Jake took a breath, willing himself to remain steady. What if we could rewrite the narrative? If we understand Clara's intentions, perhaps our families could find a way to heal and forgive. This feud shouldn't define us anymore. His father's face clouded with uncertainty, but Jake could see the flicker of emotion behind it. It's not that simple. It could be, Emma pushed, stepping forward with passion. We've watched families grow distant over pain. We want to change that. Feeling the sudden burst of energy, Sara continued, if we acknowledge our shared history, We can move past it. No more secrets, just the chance to become a family. An awkward silence fell. Jake could feel the fear fade slightly, replaced with a blue sky of hope. But would they embrace it? His mother broke the quiet. You've done some digging, haven't you? Her voice was gentle, careful. Maybe we need to hear this. Yes, Emma added softly. We want you to understand, to see where we're coming from. It's hard to let go of old wounds, but Clara believed in connection. Why can't we? Jake felt a burning hope radiate from the core of his being. Would this spark conversation rather than conflict? His father took a moment, the weight of the past visible in his eyes. We lost a lot to that feud, let us not forget that. But in that moment, Jake saw something shift. The walls were crumbling. We know, Dad, Jake spoke confidently. But now is the time for healing. If Clara united us in spirit, then we can carry that into the present. More silence, but instead of anger, Jake felt an inkling of acceptance flicker in the air. All right, his father finally responded, his voice gravelly yet soft. Let us hear what you found. But know this, we can't embrace this without understanding how deeply the past cut. Thank you, Jake breathed, a wave of relief washing over him. They were cracking the facade, step by step. We'll face it together. They gathered closer, the air now filled with the promise of exploration rather than discord. Jake glanced at Emma and Sara, gratitude swelling in his heart. They had taken the leap, and perhaps their families would follow. As they shared Clara's story, something began to shift within him, a sense of unfinished legacies transforming into hope. In the weeks that followed, they delved into the archives, breathed life into a history buried, and witnessed their families slowly unravel the tightly woven threads of resentment. Conversations that had once felt impossible blossomed, truths pouring forward like fresh spring rain, through shared stories and silent understandings, not just among friends, but families. Jake, Sara, and Emma found solace in a future brightened by hope. The laughter and connections began to flow again, weaving their lives together in ways they had long thought impossible. With the warmth of the community around them, Jake stepped forward, holding hands with his friends. They had transformed into a support system, a family forged from the threads of shared history, and as they watched their parents embrace the power of the past and present, Jake's heart swelled with gratitude. The journey of healing wasn't just theirs anymore. It rippled through Maplewood, breaking the chains of the past and lighting the way to a brighter future. Jake looked into the faces of those he loved most and knew this was only the beginning. Together, they would inspire the community, heal the wounds, and rise as one. Now, you don't want to miss what's coming next as they embark on this journey of heart and history. So please subscribe immediately to the channel. Don't miss out on exclusive stories like this. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help others find this journey too. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about the ending. Your thoughts are important to us. And share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. It's time to inspire others. This is the moment to show your support and be a part of this family. Don't wait not even one more second to share.